Shalom Aleichem. Can everybody hear me okay? I often am not heard well. So I want to thank the organizers of this event. I sort of took this at the last minute, so I don't really have any remarks prepared. Growing up, I would always hear questions from family, from our community, and the question would always be, will our youth take over? Will our youth sort of stand up and be the voice of our people? And I think I'm proud to say tonight is our answer to that question. So thank you to our distinguished clergy, to our representatives from Congressman Dole's office, from Senator Kirk's office, Mr. Mayor, and everyone else joining us. It's really a great honor to be able to be here with you. So I represent a demand for action. As the executive director of our organization, I lobby members of Congress and our government for the demands of the Assyrian people. When I say Assyrians, let me be clear that I mean the Assyrian, Chaldean, and Syriac people, because one of the things that I think has made our movement so successful that we've seen today in the streets of Lebanon, in Turkey, people have come out in the tens of thousands, and it is incredible. And it's unity, it's love for one another, for our culture, for our language. I'm reminded of Paul's first letter to the Corinthians when he said, "If not for love, I am nothing." And I think that's true for our people as well. 2 Tuesdays ago, President Obama invited me to the Easter prayer breakfast at the White House to represent the Assyrian people. And I had the opportunity to speak with both the president and the vice president. And the first thing that I asked them for, that I think a lot of people here have echoed tonight, was to supply arms to the Assyrian people, both in Iraq and in Syria, to provide for our own security. It has become clear to me, to everybody, that the institutions, the Iraqi military, the Kurdish security forces, they're not going to protect our people. There really is only one way to do that, and that is with our own people. And with that, I think a good example of that is the Syriac Military Council in Syria, who have done an amazing, brave job protecting the people of Khabar. It's really remarkable to see our people take up arms like that and really defend our lands. The second thing that I spoke to the president about at the prayer breakfast was the need to increase humanitarian aid, and specifically to make sure that the aid that we are receiving is actually going to the people that it's meant to help. As most of you know, every year we get appropriations for our people. We get aid for our people, but it never seems to make it to the people that it's supposed to help. Literally money just disappears into thin air. And I think that's something that the United States government has failed to oversee properly. Finally, and as we've talked about here tonight, the establishment of a safe haven, an internationally protected zone for our people to not only live peacefully and live securely, but to have self-determination, to have rights as indigenous people in that land. We've had some success with this, but I think we have a lot more work to do. We were successful in amending the National Defense Authorization Act to include a provision for local security in the Nineveh Plains. We were able to secure language in the FI-15 omnibus thanks to the work of Senator Kirk, who I have to say, if Senator Kirk is our greatest ally in Washington. He's just done an amazing job. And I'll go on record saying that on behalf of myself and Demand for Action, this community is 100% behind Senator Kirk in his re-election. Make no mistake. So we've had some successes. I mean, we're inching forward, and it's really because of all the work that everybody here does. I'm not a leader in the Assyrian community. I'm not an academic. I don't have a greater vision for Assyria. I ask members of Congress for things. And that's the extent of what I do. The work that everybody does, for the people who are not professional politicians, for these amazing young people that we saw today who are brave enough, who are willing to stand up and write letters and tweet and stand up here on the stage and read these horrific stories about what happened to our ancestors, you're the ones who make this happen. And we do that with unity. I will say I've known President Obama since I was 17, when I was in high school. I met him when he was a local politician. I introduced him to this community many, many years ago. And I'll be the first one to say I was incredibly disappointed with our president for not acknowledging the genocide against our people. I thought that was not only a failure in U.S. policy, but just a failure to really understand the suffering of a community that he had come to know in his time in Illinois. So I'm going to keep this brief. I can't live up to some of these performances and the great work that these young people have done. But just know that for as long as God gives me strength, gives the people in our organization strength, and God gives our community strength, we're going to continue pursuing this agenda. We are going to continue fighting for the rights of the Assyrian, Chaldean, Syriac people. And our people will not be subjects. We will not waver, even in the face of special interests, even in the face of brutal attacks against our character, against our cause. We just keep moving forward. So, while today is a day of mourning, tomorrow we regroup and we continue fighting for the recognition of this genocide from 100 years ago till today. So I thank you all for your time. Thank you for having me.